You've tuned into The Break Room, a weekly conversation about how the city of St. Augustine works, from those who do the work every day. Hosted by the City of St. Augustine's Communications Manager, Melissa Wissel, The Break Room offers a closer look at the city's programs and provides updates on current and upcoming projects. And now, your host for The Break Room, Melissa Wissel.
Welcome to The Break Room. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Melissa Wissel, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. This week we have a double dose of information with two guests in studio, Reuben Franklin, Public Works Director, and Utilities Director Todd Grant. Thank you both for joining me this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the reason we have both of you in studio this week is we are recognizing Public Works Week. Every year, the American Public Works Association celebrates the industry with a campaign theme. This year's theme is The Rhythm of Public Works. Of course, the idea there being that public works keeps a community's rhythm moving. They represent an orchestra of infrastructure services, if you will, providing the harmony needed for collaboration with all that goes into capital improvement projects, infrastructure solutions, and most importantly, the overall quality of life services, and particularly here, the city of St. Augustine. Not a lot of pressure to have to live up to for you guys. Reuben, let's get started with the Public Works Department. Just take it away.
Sure. Well, recently the city split the departments, utilities and public works, are two different departments now, but they're all under public works. Everything we do is for the public good. And so my department now has transportation and mobility, which includes parking, on-street parking in the parking garage, and also doing speed studies in neighborhoods and traffic calming, and making sure all of our traffic signals are operating properly throughout the city.
So does that mean you're the one that's in charge of that fabulous traffic circle roundabout peanut we've talked about up at May Street?
I can't take the credit for that.
Okay.
That is, we have a lot of state roads, so that was a DOT project, Department of Transportation. There was some collaboration, but they take the credit for that, and
Good.
It's working very nicely.
Good.
So we also have engineering. We're doing capital improvement projects, water main design, stormwater design. We're working on a bunch of flood mitigation projects currently that we got grant monies from the federal government, and that's administrated through the state to the city. And then we also do development and management support. So all new development that goes on, they submit plans for review. Our engineering staff and managers review it. And then we see it all the way from permitting through design, permitting, and construction. And then we also have streets and grounds. They're out every day. They take care of all the paving that you see going on in the city. They do all the concrete work, sidewalk repairs. One of my favorites, they assist and put up a lot of the lights in the plaza for Nights of Lights. And I know that the crews take great pride in that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. You were mentioning engineering. Maybe we can come back to that. Steve Slaughter was on here talking about the wastewater testing that's going on. So that's something else that you kind of oversee.
Yeah, very exciting. We're sampling for COVID-19 in our wastewater, and we're waiting results. So I'm sure there'll be an article coming out, once we get the results back from the first round of sampling. And
Todd, let's go ahead and jump right in over there with utilities, because it really does. It's a complete crossover between your departments.
Correct. My side of the house deals with the water treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant, the distribution systems for both of those. Also meter maintenance, which is our staff that goes out and reads the meters. We also have stormwater collections, and they do all the routine maintenance. And then also solid waste. GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, is under that, as well as the Environmental Compliance Division. And so mine is kind of the operational side of things as far as getting it done, implementing, overseeing, and maintaining. Really dedicated staff. It's amazing that at a drop of a hat, they'll be back into work, fixing anything that's broken, emergencies. During tropical storms or hurricanes, there's volunteers that will, come in and wait out the storm. Recently, with this pandemic, we already had volunteers that said that they would sleep, live 24/7 at both plants so that we could ensure safe drinking water and also safe treatment of the wastewater. So really, my hat's off to the staff because they're the backbone. And this week is dedicated really to them in all that they do.
Yeah, and that's a really good point for our plant operators at the wastewater and water treatment plants. They can't, a hurricane comes, a disaster, a pandemic, they just can't go home. They have to make sure they're there ensuring that the city's getting clean water and that we're taking care of the wastewater too.
Right, yeah. So during this event, we were making sure that the staff at both of those plants were being abundantly careful, to not catch it or spread it, because you'd have to shut down the plant, which is not a good thing.
No, not at all. One of the things that I learned during one of our hurricanes, and I honestly can't remember, the Public Works services across both of what now is Public Works and utilities, they're actually considered part of the first responders in recovery. When they have essential personnel, most people think of first responders as fire, rescue, police, but you can't get the city back up and running without Public Works and utilities.
Correct.
When do you want to kind of...
No, we work hand in hand with the fire department, to go and clear streets, to make sure that they have access to help individuals that they need. But I think one of the Public Works slogans is first to respond and last to leave.
Correct. And after Hurricane Matthew is where that partnership, as far as with the fire department, really, became concrete, because we learned a lot of lessons. And so post hurricane, we came up with zones, plans, the number of staff, equipment needed, even incorporating solid waste to make sure that the fire department, can get in there and help anyone that needs it. But then it helps us, because our staff can then start assessing, we have a water main break here, we have sewage leaking here. So it really served two purposes. Both of them are a life safety or health issue. So we have that system in place. We've practiced quite a few times.
Right.
And again, work well with the fire department. The coordination is really, really good. Chief Avalese is phenomenal at what he does as far as his leadership during an emergency. So, like I said, a really tight group within the city that will do anything. They take a lot of pride in what they do, as far as ownership of the city and how it looks.
Great. We're going to take just a quick second here, an identification. You're listening to The Break Room. I'm Melissa Whistle, Communications Manager for the City of St. Augustine. This week in studio, we are talking about Public Works Week with two guests, Public Works Director Reuben Franklin, as well as Utilities Director Todd Grant. Let's come back. We were talking about some of the storm recovery type things you were mentioning, the wastewater or leaks, things like that. We also had some experiences of damaged lift stations. And I know that one of the things that we're working on is, and I don't know which one of you would answer this, but we've got lift stations as well as the Lake Maria Sanchez project, which I'm guessing has taken a little bit of a back seat with some of this COVID, but
there's still, so that really hasn't, the pandemic itself hasn't really slowed down our engineering division design-wise or any of these grant projects. The schedules, they may get pushed out, but they did not slow down. We've been working, working from home, identified staff that can work from home, but we've been keeping these projects moving forward. They're housed in our engineering division. But we have Maria Sanchez, which is a big flood mitigation project, which will include a pumping station at the south end of Maria Sanchez Lake. And then that will actually prevent all the flooding that occurs on Granada Street, Cordova Street, when we get those strong nor'easters, full moons, king tide events where we get the flooding on a fairly regular basis. So that's a great project. And then we also have the lift stations, 13 pumping stations that pump sewer to the wastewater treatment plant are under design right now to be replaced. One thing when you get a hurricane, when you're responding, it doesn't end with the first response.
Right.
It identified a bunch of weaknesses, to our system. And we identify that, we recognize it, and then we program it in to make it more resilient. And we use FEMA federal monies to assist with that, to make our community stronger.
Todd, anything you want to add on that one?
Well, as Reuben said, after Matthew, it exposed, I won't say weaknesses, but just issues that we never considered as far as, okay, a lift station or a pumping station's only as good as its electrical control box. And if that's below,
Right.
the flood elevation, so some minor things, as well as, old infrastructure just being able to get renewed or replaced with the help of federal money.
And in talking about COVID, you both started to mention as well, your teams really haven't had a break. I think it's a great time for us to be able to recognize them with Public Works Week because they have not stopped. Shout outs to all of them. I know that we've seen a lot of physical workout, street power washing, maintenance in the gardens, all kinds. Anybody in particular?
Yeah, I think the staff has appreciated being able to work. A lot of people being laid off, not having a job, and it's given us the ability with the lack of tourism and traffic to get in and really put a fresh face on the downtown area. And all the staff have, let's face it, when you self-isolate, it gets a little stir-crazy. So they've been very appreciative of being able to come in and get a lot of work done. I mean, we purposely scheduled a lot of maintenance and repair work downtown during this time just so we could get in.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Todd's been overseeing a large pressure washing campaign to really help sanitize and clean up the public space. And things that you learn when it's not as busy as we're probably going to come away with this with, more pressure washing on a regular basis in certain areas of the city that we never had focused on before. So, just like every pandemic, every hurricane that comes through, we learned something from it.
Right.
Hopefully this is the only pandemic we ever have to deal with.
And there was a lot of work done in the parking garage down there. We've got some pictures that we've been trying to share on social media, top to bottom, all around the VIC as well?
Yeah, that's correct. We took the opportunity to really look at the VIC and the improvements that were needed there, which is a lot of painting and pressure washing. And those before and after photos, I encourage everybody to look at them on our social media page, Facebook page. But they're pretty stunning, the before and after.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get some of those out. We had a few, but we wanted to wait for the VIC to be open again because what we were afraid of was if we show everyone all these beautiful pictures of the VIC, everybody's going to want to come down and check it out. We weren't quite ready for that yet.
And we have an important date, June 1st. It's going to be free parking until June 1st.
Okay.
So the garage will be open, but June 1st, we're going to get back into our normal parking operations for, on street and off street.
Which is great news for Memorial Day weekend. Yes. Parking is free downtown.
Yes,
so that's good.
The hope is people will come downtown, socially distance, of course. We encourage wearing masks, but the hope is that people will take advantage and come downtown and slowly try to reopen our beautiful city.
Great. Anything to finish us off today, Todd?
Well, an interesting thing is that, I've been with the city 11 years. Reuben's been here 10 years. So it's kind of nice to have that history and partnership because and a staff that supports us. Reuben and I work really well together. Prior to him getting more into the mobility, an incredible engineer for the city, did a lot of great things. And so getting him back into this realm, I think, is just going to be a really positive move forward. And I'm really excited about the organizational change within the city, where we can now be a team. And it's really paid dividends already.
I can see it from what my limited time at the city I've only been here going on 5 years totally at City Hall. It's really great to see the work that you both do together and to see how we as a city and the community benefits from that. So I hope you guys will come back and see us again. Talk to us again.
Anytime.
So as we look around, all that is being done in the city to clean and repair every day, and especially now during our COVID-19 pandemic, let's think of our community in this rhythm of services that's provided by Public Works as a symphony of essential services working in concert to create this great place that we all call home. We have our own rhythm. We have a heartbeat that reflects the very essence and tempo of life in the nation's oldest city. Thank you for tuning in. As we wrap up another edition of The Break Room, I hope we answered your questions. If we didn't take a minute to drop an email to info@citysanog.com, let me know if we missed something or if there's someone you would like to hear from. We want to keep you informed about what's happening in and around the city, and most importantly, that you hear it here from the people doing the work and making it happen every day. Remember that in order to stay connected, you need to be connected. So like us and follow us on any of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at City St. Aug. Thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to The Break Room, a weekly program about projects and programs offered by the City of St. Augustine. We hope you'll join us each week as host Melissa Whistle and her guests have a conversation that helps you better understand how our city works to meet the needs of our community. See you next time on The Break Room.